There are many inspirational stories that we can use to motivate us when we're faced with our own challenges. Our next guest is a young adult, Ravena. Ravena left the comfort of her family and country at age 18 to relocate to New York City. She opens up about some of the challenges that she has faced during the process and how she uses faith and courage to overcome these challenges. Listen. Ravena, thanks for sitting down with me today. I can't believe it. It was just the other day. You were just a little girl going to camping when I met you and went by my niece's house.
Time flies.
Time really flies. So how have life been like for you? What brought you here in New York? And, because coming from Jamaica, a third world country, to a huge city like New York, what has it been like for you?
What brought me to New York was school. I went to sixth form in Jamaica, and I was in a position where I had applied to med school. I had applied to UA Med, and I did not want to be a doctor.
Oh.
I feel like it's so strict in Jamaica. You have to go to school for one thing, and I didn't want to just go to school for one thing. I love to learn.
Yes.
I had a passion for art as well. I wanted to not only do med, but I also wanted to do art, and I feel like the way it's constructed in Jamaica, if I was going to UA Med, then it would be hard for me to also do art at the same time. So I had applied to UA Med, and I had also applied to schools in the United States with that idea of, you can go to a college and, you can do pre-med, which is it's different from med, it's not the real thing.
Right.
And I can also do art. So that's what brought me here to New York. I had applied to schools, and the school in New York was the one that gave me the most financial aid. I had gotten a scholarship. And also in Jamaica, it's a third world country, it's limited. I just know that there's so much more that I wanted to do personally. There's so much more that I wanted to see.
Right.
And I also just needed to get out of the box I felt like I was being put in Jamaica. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this through school. I'm going to go away to school.
Right.
So yeah, that's what brought me to New York.
Okay, and what has life been like? You got into school in New York, and is your parents with you here, or do you have family in New York?
No, it was a very brave move. I came here to no immediate family. I have an aunt that lives upstate, and she's actually the one who picked me up from the airport. But that's basically all my family. When you speak of family, you think of your mom, your father, your sisters. I didn't have any of that. I didn't have anyone close to me. I didn't have any friends here. It was a very bold step for me. I was basically stepping out into an environment that I did not know. Yeah. I was on my own completely.
Right. So you're basically staying on campus. So
I did live on campus.
You left Jamaica, under the wings of your parents, and a culture that you're used to. Yep. And you landed in New York City, big city, big first world country. Yep. And no family. So you were basically staying on campus.
Yeah,
and what happened from there?
It was living on campus. Wow, living on campus was a big culture shock to me. Being in New York City was a big culture shock for me. I had an idea of New York, and when I came here and I saw the reality of it, that was a big shock. That was actually a big life lesson for me. What I learned from that is that you can't, focus on the ideas or live by the ideas that you have in your head. You have to go out and see what it really, really is. So, also, living on campus exposed me to a bunch of different cultures that I wasn't used to. I thought it would be easier. My idea is that it would be the same as Jamaica. I don't know why I thought that, but I thought that, people are the same. They might have a different accent, but they're essentially the same.
Yes, similar culture.
Yeah. So, but I came here, and when I started going to school and mixing with the children on campus, I realized I'm a lone wolf. Yeah. None of these children are like me. None of them have the same interests as me. My English sounds weird to them. We don't have, or culture isn't very similar. So
So a lot of cultural differences.
That was a shocking thing for me actually. I was alone during most of when I did go to school. I was alone. I didn't have many friends because I didn't have anyone with a Caribbean background that I could relate to.
Right.
And that led me to actually not, that's one of the factors as to me not liking school.
The cultural differences, moving from a small town to a big city.
People are mean. People are mean.
Yeah.
And
so another thing is that the cultural differences, a lot of cultural differences, and the personality of the people.
the personality, Jamaican people just nice, you know.
Yeah.
You can sit down and have a conversation with anyone, anywhere,
Right.
and you will laugh and you will have fun. Or if it's a serious conversation, you will gain a lot from that conversation. Here, people aren't willing to open up to you as easily as they would back home. I think it's because we have such a tight-knit culture, and here there's so many different cultures, no one cares about each other.
Yeah. More self-centered.
Definitely more self-centered, you know. In the cities, you know, it's very fast-paced. People are, this is outside of school, this is when I would have to like take the train. People are very focused on where they're going. People don't say excuse me, people don't, the mannerisms are different here. I'm used to, you know, saying good morning to everyone and having everyone say good morning to me. So that was different. They were probably like,
so how did that impact you though? How did that impact you?
That there, the culture here, I want to say that
what initial effects did it have on you?
It impacted me negatively. I wasn't, you know, when people are around you are harsh, you start to close down and you start to, you know, you're
get
not
within yourself.
Yeah. So that's what happened to me. I was alone most of the time. I also came here when it was cold. That was a big it shocked me. Literally shocked me. I did not want to go outside. I didn't want to speak. They say winter depression. It is a real thing, and I experienced that my first time coming here. So as I said, all these ideas I had in my head, you know, New York just wasn't it.
Right. And so you came and you're now
I'm still here.
in this big city, you know, being a 19-year-old coming from Jamaica, thrown in this big city, and with all this culture shock, you know, people are more self-centered and it's so fast-paced.
Yeah.
And what happened next?
So I got to a place where I had a lot of doors closing on me. I was alone here. You know, I never had family to go home to. I had no one to cry to. And doors were just continuously closing on me. In school, I actually got my financial aid taken away just because my guardian, who is my mother, she lives in Jamaica, and the only way she could sign my financial aid was by physically signing a piece of paper and sending it from Jamaica to New York. And there was a disconnect somewhere where she would be signing them and she would be sending them off, but they were not receiving these papers until it got to the point where they were like, okay, clearly this paper is non-existent, we don't know of this mother you speak of in Jamaica, basically. And they were like, they took away the financial aid because of that reason, because they couldn't get that signature. So I was at a crossroads where school wasn't an option for me anymore because of that. In that moment, it was not an option for me. And they were basically saying, we can't help you. You know, in Jamaica, people are pulling together always to help you. If you're going to, you see, because I feel like everything is small in Jamaica, so it's easier because
you have your family, you have friends.
That as well. And even like with school, like I personally knew my principal.
Oh, okay.
So, you know,
they would work with you.
They always work with you.
Yeah.
Here it's like, nope.
Yeah. I can just imagine.
Very harsh, very, very harsh here. That was very fundamental in me growing up. Also, coming from sixth form, you know, coming from Jamaica they don't work on credits. Here in the United States, they work on credit. So I was doing I had already done a 2-year curriculum that had taught me everything that I needed to know in my first 2 years of university. I came here and I was doing the same thing over.
Oh.
And I would speak to, the heads of my board, and they just would, I would show them my curriculum, and they would just, you had to do it. You had to pay for these 2 years, even though you already did it. So that was a huge no for me.
Yeah, because of the credit system.
Yeah, and you're just wasting time. Why are you going to waste time to do something that you already did?
Done it, yeah. And
So,
then it's costly too. It's not like it's
very, very costly.
Yeah.
So that was another closed door. As I said, I hated the environment. I didn't want to socialize with anyone. I didn't want to interact. I felt like I had to become this
You're more
new.
withdrawn.
I was definitely withdrawn, and I feel like it was either I'm going to be withdrawn or use all this energy to be this person that I wasn't. So yeah.
So how did you eventually overcome all these challenges? Being so young and being faced with so many different challenges. How did you overcome them?
I had to go through it. I was depressed. I just hated I just wanted to cry. And I did cry. You have to go through
the process.
You have to go through the process. So in that process it made me, because I came here, oh la-di-da, like I'm just going to do this.
Looking forward
I don't know what I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it just because,
Right.
And then you get hit with reality. Like, you have to have a plan. You have to know what you're doing. So going through that depression, it made me realize, Ravena, you have to grow up. You decided that you're going to get up and go to this place by yourself, and you decided that, things were just going to line up for you. That's when I realized that life doesn't work that way. Going through that depression is what taught me life doesn't work that way. So you have to get up and you have to move forward, and you have to find a plan.
Tell me how did you come through it? How do you go through it and come through all that?
Faith. Definitely faith. That was a very trying time for me, because I felt like I had nowhere to turn. It's like you want something so bad and it's not happening to you, not happening for you. And in my head at that time I was like, okay, so school is not going to happen right now at this moment. I do not want to go back home to be, a burden on my mom. Because I do have a little sister who was gearing up to go to college as well, and a lot of personal family things that was going on, and it's just not a good environment. And my faith and my mom is what, being able to call my mom, even though I can't physically touch her, I couldn't physically see her face to face. Being on the phone with her, her wise words really helped me through, and number one was faith for me.
So what was your next move? You college was came to an end.
Figure out our next move.
What did you do after that?
I got a job. Well, I was working during school actually, but I'm no longer being able to live on campus. My next resort was the aunt that had lived upstate, and I went there. And shortly after being there, she was basically like, I can't house you anymore. She's basically like, I don't know what you're gonna do, but you gotta get out of here.
Right. Yeah.
Another harsh reality. So when that happened, I was like, okay, I don't have anywhere to live. I don't have anyone to support me. I need to pick up another job. And so that's what I did. And I would actually, so she told me that I had to leave, but when she told me that, I knew I had to go and get another job, and I was traveling 2 hours from her house upstate to New York, because that's where the jobs were.
Right.
I was traveling back and forth every day to work. I worked 2 jobs. At one point I was even working 3 jobs, because now I had to pay rent. So my mom had a friend that had an empty basement, and basically I rented out that basement from her. And that was a lot, working just to pay
the
bills. So that's what I had to do. But I had it in my head that, hey, I want to do this. Is something that I want to do on my own. I want to, I'm claiming to be an adult, even though I was young, even though I was 19. I'm claiming to be an adult, but I'm not acting like it.
Right.
So it's like, you make the choices. You have to live up.
Yeah.
You have
rise to the occasion
to meet the choices that you made.
Right.
So that's what I did. yeah, that's basically how I moved out of that situation.
Okay. And what is it like for you now? You know, you've gone through all that, you know, as a young person,
Yeah.
and you're still a very young person.
Yeah.
So what is life like for you now? Where are you at this time in your life?
Well, I want to mention that it wasn't just a jump.
Mm-hmm.
It was a process of me
Mhm.
getting here. It was a process of me putting myself into social groups
Okay.
that would, you know, help my self-development.
Mm-hmm.
It was a process of me learning what I wanted to do. I was just, you know, I was working retail, and through that I was able to meet different people who, you know, helped me to, you know, just
Provide
gain
mentorship.
yeah, yeah. Even though these were my peers,
Yeah.
them having a casual conversation like what we're
Right.
having now is
Yes.
what helped me
Yeah. Yeah.
to propel forward.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up meeting someone who was like, hey, you should apply to this bank.
Right.
And I was just like, I don't have
A degree.
a degree. I don't have, like, yeah, you see me here
Credentials.
providing you with wonderful customer service, but I don't have the credentials to
Yeah.
back up this wonderful customer service.
Right.
So, even that, when some person believed in me,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I need to believe in myself. Why am I working these 3 jobs, you know, doing retail, kind of just being smacked around by life?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This was very young. This was actually within the same 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
about so. And so I had applied, and I was getting the bank that she had told me to apply for. They never ever reached out to me. But I was like, okay, you know, this person, she believed in me
Right.
to, you know, get through. Like, she thought that I would have gotten the job easily.
Right.
Let's see what else is out there. So I
Right.
started applying to different banks.
Hmm.
And finally, one reached back out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And today, you know, I work at the bank. I'm, you know, it's a stable job.
Mhm.
I'm given the freedom to invest in things. Now I have, you know, I don't have to be spending all of my time working. I now have the
Right.
freedom to invest in other things that I love to do.
Mm-hmm. Because you don't have to be doing 3 jobs.
Yeah, you know, developing myself personally, that's what it's all about. You know, going
Yeah.
out and finding the things that you like. But it's rough, it's hard, but you have to go through the hardship. There's no reward without hardships.
To
Things
get
are
to
not
the-
just handed to you just like that.
Yeah, you have to go through it to get to the next level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I learned.
Yeah, and you said that you're now at Citibank. What was it like for you when you're going in? Was it an easy process, or did you face the similar challenges?
No. I got many no's.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Here, you know, it's a repetition of these closing doors. Like when I was in school, remember I said those doors were closing on me?
Right.
Yeah, those I kept on getting those closed doors again. And here I was going to all these interviews. I went to different branches within the same group, the same Citibank, and they were like, we love you, but we love this, but closing the door.
Right.
And I had one, you know, I just kept, at this point, when you keep on getting no's, and you know, I was losing time from my other jobs going to these interviews, and you know, I was really cutting it close with paying rent on time. Rent.
Yeah.
And I had the lady who had initially called me. She was like, these people really love you and they're giving me great feedback, but they feel like you're not fit for the position. And then she was like, but you know, this good feedback must mean something.
Right.
I am going to give you this opportunity. And she's the one who, you know, she was opening up a new branch. She was the director for all the branches. And she was opening up a new branch, and she was like, I'm going to give you this opportunity. And she's the one who, you see, I feel like I'm very spiritual. I feel like God brings you to, there's a reason for everything. You're in a certain position to have this interaction with this one person that's going to bring you to the next level.
Right.
Nothing is in vain.
Yes.
No moment is in vain.
So there's someone working on your behalf.
Yeah.
Even though you're not seeing it.
Yeah, and even though you have those no's,
Yeah.
every no,
There's a divine.
every no leads up to a yes, and that's from my experience, because I got those no's and I was in a very low place.
But why didn't you give up? Why didn't you like just throw the towel and give in and give up?
Because, you know, I thought to myself, if I give up, what next? What happens next? Everyone thinks it's, you know, it's so easy to cave in and just say, oh, okay, I give up. But you still have to live life, right? You know, you still have to, well, in my position, I had to provide for myself.
Right.
There was no one to fall back on.
No option.
Yeah, my mother was so far away. There was no one to fall, and you know who's paying for these plane tickets for you to be flying back and forth. And
So you either have to swim or drown.
Yeah, you swim or you drown. It's very as literal as that. You swim or you drown, and I decided that if I was going to drown, it's a literal drowning. So I had to swim. I had to push forward. I had to get up. I had to look towards the positive. I had to make things work. I had to, you know, believe in myself. That was number one for me. I definitely had to believe in myself. I definitely had to believe in God, because my mother, and this is such a comforting thing that she tells me. God, maybe it's not these exact same words, you know, Jamaican people. God never, he doesn't bring you halfway. He's not going to bring you over the bridge halfway and just leave you there in the middle of the bridge. He's going to bring you over that entire bridge, over the flooding waters. He's going to bring you. It's for you to believe that.
Yes.
You have to believe it. You have to believe.
So, what is your take on college? Because here it goes. Even though you don't have a college degree, and the way the system is structured is that you're required, or it's structured in a way where it pushes people to go to school to earn that degree. You didn't have a degree, and yet you're working at a bank, and you're doing a job that you love doing. What is your take on college, and do you think that colleges are preparing students for the work world or for life?
I'd like to say overall, it's a stigma that we need to move away from. It's a very uniform thing for children to leave high school and go to college. And people break their backs trying to send themselves to college or trying to send their children to college when it is not the only option. You know, I heard recently, my friend has a podcast, and she had this life coach interviewing this life coach, and he explained that college is not the only path to learning. Right. You can learn in so many different ways. Now in 2018, there's a lot of channels for you to learn. There's learning through experience, you know. And funny thing, a lot of people graduate from college, they have their big degree, they're in so much debt, and they still can't get a job because they don't have any experience. Right. So now I think, just wanted to get rid of that stigma. College doesn't always have to be the only option. Right. You can take the time to find skills that you have. You know, God gives us talents. You find that talent, you find something that you love and you work towards it. You know, now is a time where a lot of people are entrepreneurs because they are putting energy into their own talents and displaying it. We have so many platforms now. We have there's Instagram, there's YouTube, there's Facebook, there's Instagram for you to show your talents, and this is bringing people business. Right. So overall, to answer your question, I don't think, one, college is not the only way. Two, I don't think colleges are preparing the children, the young adults for their students for life after college. Because I feel that with my personal experiences with the classes that I would go to, children, I keep on saying children. Why I keep on
students?
I keep on saying children because at that time when you're just when you're just going into college, you're 17, 18.
Yeah, you feel like a child.
You are a child. Yeah. You don't know what you want.
Yeah.
You don't know what you want. Yeah. There's no guidance there.
Or young adults or students.
Yeah, well, you think you're an adult, but the reality is you don't know what you want.
No.
You don't.
You just started.
And you're also
your toe.
Yeah, you're just dipping your foot in the
water.
And you have so much freedom going to college. I feel that there is no one there to guide you through college. There's no one there to mentor you to because you're in this open world where you're able to make your own decisions. Right. You can decide if you want to go to class or not. You can decide if you want to go to this party. You can decide if you want to do this drug. And a lot of the students fall victim to those things because they're so open to it, and they've never had the freedom to make these decisions before. So now they're going to make these decisions to go and do whatever they want to do. And with schools, there's nothing they're implementing mental growth. There's nothing they're implementing personal development. And if there are classes or clubs that are there, you personally have to go and find it. There's nothing coming to you. So I think that.
So you think that more emphasis should be placed on personal development?
Definitely. Personal development, financial development. When I came here, financial management. When I came here, I never knew nothing about credit. Now I know so much about credit because I personally had to go and seek ways to teach myself about money management and credit management. They don't teach that in schools.
You have to learn through experience.
You have to learn through experience. School, it's basically teachers coming in, them not caring about their students, them teaching a whole big lecture class of 50 plus students, sometimes 100 students in this lecture. They come there, they do their job, and they collect their check. There's nothing personal about it.
There's no focus on personal. So maybe if they change the schedule a little bit to incorporate
that would help
more
push.
focus on personal development.
That would help the students through. It would, because there's so many college dropouts.
Skills courses.
There's so many college dropouts just because that personal touch teaching wasn't there.
Yeah, they're basically lost.
They're very lost.
Yeah,
they're very lost.
Like, it's one size fit all, and one size doesn't fit all.
It doesn't. Yeah. Especially with now a lot of immigrant children seeking opportunity. It is very, very hard for them. Personal testament. It's very, very hard for them, and the schools aren't doing anything to incorporate.
Yeah. Like provide enough support.
Yeah.
So, what advice do you have for other people, like teenagers, 19 years old, or coming from a third world country like Jamaica or other third world country, and placed in this huge city? What advice do you have for them?
First of all, they would have to know that this is something that they really want. That's one, I wouldn't say a regret because I'm very proud of where I am now, but that's one thing I wish I had really thought about. Is this somewhere that I really want to go? I feel like I did not.
You weren't prepared mentally.
I wasn't prepared. I'm telling you, it was a very big culture shock.
Just doing it because of
because it was available.
New York City.
Yeah.
Or it's New York.
Yeah.
But
it was available.
What advice do you have for them? How would you advise them in terms of the challenges they face? How can they overcome these challenges? You've gone through it, and you have overcome it. But what advice do you have for these younger children who are really facing certain challenges in their lives?
Yeah. Look for your support system, and if you don't have a support system, know that you can always be your own support system. You have to look inwards. You have to find the inner strength to move forward. For me, you have to be very spiritual. You have to have a connection to a higher being, because you cannot. The fact is, you cannot do it on your own. If you are, because I know not everyone is spiritual, but if you are, you have to look to that higher being to guide you along. You have to look to yourself to know that you do have the strength, and also just use the platforms that are available to you. There's so many for self-growth, for personal growth, for mental growth. There are lots of speeches on YouTube, iTunes, you find them. There are lots of people that are going through what you are going through. And it's just for, a conversation like this to happen, to give you the strength to push forward. Yeah, you have to be strong. Definitely have to be strong.
Yeah. Ravena, it was really, really nice talking to you, and you really have an inspiring story. And I'm sure some people who are going through challenges, they'll see that you have done it and
still doing it,
and you have overcome. And so this will definitely help others,
Yeah.
to motivate them that regardless of what you're going through, believe in yourself. Have an end goal. Focus on your goal. There
Yeah.
may be distractions that will take you off course, but once you have a goal and keep your eyes on the goal and focus, then you will get there.
I want to say as well, you said
Distracted.
being distracted. Everything is a learning process. Trust, it is a learning process.
Yes.
When you are being derailed, ask yourself, what am I learning from this?
Yes.
Yeah, that has helped me because I've been derailed. And that's what I had to ask myself, what am I learning from this? What can I gain from this? Why is this happening?
Yes.
And it's usually a positive thing, it's usually something that helps you grow.
Yeah, self-development.
Yep.
So self-development is very, very critical. And I know, there has not been enough focus on self-development in the school system.
No.
And I think it is very, very critical because it doesn't matter how good you are academically, if you don't understand life and understand how to figure life and move through life, it can really throw you down.
It could demolish everything that you spent 4 years paying thousands of dollars for to get your degree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.